Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel. You know, there's been a lot of indecisiveness from chart analysts, at least the ones that I've been following today specifically. In recent days, still, it had felt like most analysts were thinking in terms of what direction we're going to go, more likely than not to the upside. I shared with you just the other day some analysts that were making a case for a crash for XRP and Bitcoin potentially. And so here what I mostly see, today anyway, is indecisiveness from analysts saying, yeah, it could go up or it could go down. So well, you know what's happening, though? It's just that there's been a lot of consolidation lately. And in terms of probability, when you get to a more narrow like bandwidth in terms of that volatility, what I tend to see frequently is analysts that are less sure about what's more likely to happen directionally. So they just talk about, if we hit so-and-so target, what might we expect to see? And so I think that largely what we're going to have to do is just wait and see. But there are still some analysts that are more bullish than not. And for instance, here's a headline from the Daily Hodl. A crypto analyst says XRP ready to rip. Here's the new target from Credible Crypto. And I'll tell you right here, even at the outset of the video, he's thinking in the short term, it's quite possible, the very short term, we may be hitting XRP at about $1.15. So lots to cover here. Now, I do want to be clear. I don't have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and so you should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. I just think it's fun to talk about these topics. I'm just as interested in them as you are. And so that is all that it is. So I like to do that and make YouTube videos as a fun hobby. That is pretty much it. So if you would please ever so delicately tap the like button, I'd appreciate the support. And also go ahead and subscribe to the Moon Lambeau channel, the best channel on all of the YouTubes. Now, as I record this, XRP is at 60.8 cents. A Bitcoin is at $19,226. The market cap for the asset class is at $574 billion, and Bitcoin dominance at 62.09%. And so here, let me scroll down a little bit here. And if you're driving or something, don't worry, you don't need to look at the screen. But if you happen to be looking at your screen anyway, if you just take a look at these top 10 cryptocurrencies right here, you can see that the charts largely look the same, look very similar, and you just see a lot of sideways trading action. But that can only persist for so long, and so eventually fireworks shall erupt, I believe. Let's jump into this first piece, though, from the Daily Hodl. A popular crypto analyst is updating his near-term forecast for XRP. The pseudonymous analyst, known in the industry as Credible Crypto, tells his 82,000 Twitter followers that XRP appears poised, once again, to make a significant move to the upside. And actually, I want to make sure I state this too, even though I'm talking about the indecisiveness from analysts in terms of being willing to articulate what they think is more likely than not in terms of, are we going up, are we going down? Even though that is true, I've not seen any of them state that they think that there's any sort of difference structurally in the macro trend, with the macro trend being, hey, we're still in a bull market, things are going up. So even if we do see some, in the short term, some negative price action from Bitcoin and or XRP, it doesn't mean structurally that anything has changed. So in that case, on a scale of 1 to 10, the market's still looking like 2 thumbs up. On a scale of 1 to 10, 2 thumbs up. The strategist who relies on Elliott wave theory to assess market trends and investor behavior expects XRP's breakout to continue. However, he says all bets are off in the short term if Bitcoin moves below the $8,800 level. And so here's a quote. If this 19,000 level holds, I expect we go for new all-time high finally next. Anything below $19,000 will have to wait at that point, in my opinion. 18,800 to 19,000 to be exact. And so if Bitcoin's price holds up, the analyst expects XRP to move from its current price of about 61 cents to around $1.15. And so for those of you new to the world of crypto, and I know there are so many that have jumped in, and I say, oh, welcome. Bitcoin leaves the market, and XRP and every other coin follows. and so some people, especially if you're new, you won't be able to just be able to tell that, because it's not like XRP follows Bitcoin down to the second, the minute, the day, the week. But if you zoom out on a chart, you can visually see it. So I always like to point out, even though Bitcoin leads the market, what my favorite example is that from May of 2017 through roughly December of 2017, XRP more or less traded sideways, while Bitcoin blew up and ultimately hit its then all-time high of nearly $20,000. And so XRP wasn't following until it was. And so that's why if you look over a span of many, many, many years, that little 6-month time window doesn't look like anything. It looks like nothing, especially if you're looking at like the last full 8 years of XRP price action. And so it really was just following Bitcoin, but it's just fascinating that people, they're feeling it, like whatever's happening in the moment, they feel like that's what the true reality is. But you just got to make yourself aware of data so that you're not emotionally responding and you're just making your own buying and selling decisions based on data. Because I think a lot of people are missing this, and to the people that deny the reality of XRP and every other coin following Bitcoin, my gosh, I'm afraid for you. If you are emotionally buying and selling and you can't even recognize what charts show you, if you just got 2 eyeballs, hell, even if you got 1 eyeball, if you look at the charts, you can see this here. Anyway, if Bitcoin does break down, fellow analyst Michael Vandepop says XRP is likely to move to the 36-cent area. He also believes XRP is targeting $1, based in part on momentum from the upcoming Flare airdrop. And so what they're saying here is not that even if this happens to XRP price, they're not saying that there's something fundamentally wrong with XRP. That's not what is being stated here. What they're really talking about, even though he's talking about the Flare airdrop here, they're talking about Bitcoin moving in terms of price level based on regular speculation. So again, no Bitcoin fundamentals changing there either, and then XRP falling. That is what they're talking about here. So it doesn't mean the sky's falling. It doesn't mean XRP is going to zero. That's not what they are saying here. And so here's a quote from Michael Vandepop. The momentum is on Bitcoin, but there is also significant momentum on XRP as there is an airdrop approaching in the coming week. The 22-cent mark flipped for support, which granted that we've made a higher low structure in this upward structure during the year 2020, after which this downtrend broke to the upside, resulting in such a massive impulse wave towards 80 cents. However, as XRP frequently has those massive moves, a correction is most likely to happen, through which we can anticipate potential support around 45 cents and potentially at 36 to 32 cents if Bitcoin starts to correct. If that happens, the next impulse wave might go toward $1 plus. And so even if this happens, understand that we were talking about 30 cents since just weeks ago being heavy resistance for XRP, and now we're talking about a worst case scenario where 32 to 36 cents would be support. So it's still in a better place than it was before. And just expect to. I was watching a video from Blockchain Backer earlier today too, XRP chart analyst, and he was just talking about how you can expect now that XRP is in consolidation. If you start to see some of those smaller cap coins, even if they're like technically a large cap coin, just whether it's the top 10 or 20 or 30 or 40, whatever coin you're looking at, don't be surprised if as XRP trades sideways, if some of these other coins do start pumping, people who have already FOMO'd in to XRP are going to continue to emotionally behave, jump ship here, and jump into other ones, and then that's just how you get wrecked. If you just keep tracing the trend and you're not a long-term holder, oh man, we've got 100 years worth of stock market data to show us that's bad. We've got about 12 years of chart history in the crypto market to say that's bad. Chasing the latest trend is stupid. STOOPID, stupid. And so I don't do it. Instead, what I've been doing is playing the super long game, and I personally have just been dollar cost averaging into XRP for the last 3 years roughly. So that's what I'm doing here. Here's a tweet from XRP chart analyst Leb Crypto, who wrote, there we go, yeah, breaking 56 cents calls for a bearish December just in general. So there's just one more penny in this thinking you could get rough for weeks, potentially, if we break that 56-cent level. Again, as I record this, what did I say, 60? Yeah, well, now it's 60.7 cents. Here's a piece written by chart analyst Dennis Surachuk. He writes for CryptoComes.com. And he's another analyst that didn't want to speak in this particular article about directionally what he thinks is most likely. And sometimes he does. He frequently say, the bears have the upper hand, the bulls have the upper hand. Now he's saying maybe it'll go up to 70 cents, maybe it'll go down to 50 cents. So it's a little bit more wishy-washy than normal from him even. And that's fine. I'd rather them just be honest, say, yeah, I don't know based on the charts. It could go either way. I'd rather have that than them just, feed us a bunch of garbage, when they're not really that sure. And so if that's the case, if you really can't tell based on the data in front of you because it's so in the middle, hey, you know what? Fair enough. All right, and then there's this piece from News BTC titled, "Bitcoin is likely to remain range-bound until it breaks this key level." And they ended up citing in here, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but they did end up citing Michael Vanderpop in here. Again, he's another very popular chart analyst. He's the one that was cited talking about XRP in the other article I was just covering here. And here, they're giving some updates from him about Bitcoin, which, again, is important because depending on what happens with Bitcoin, that's going to determine what we see happen with XRP. And interestingly, check out these levels. I'm going to share them with you in a moment, but it was fascinating to me because in terms of the downward level in particular to watch for Bitcoin, if it breaks a certain level, it's very close to what Credible Crypto was saying. So it caught my attention. Anyway, one trader explained in a recent tweet that he expects Bitcoin to become range-bound in the days and weeks ahead, with the selling pressure at $19,400 and buying pressure around $18,600 and $19,000, both supporting it. And so here was the quote from Michael Vanderpop. "Bitcoin still stuck in a range here, through which the volatility will kick in above $19,400 and below $18,600. Until then, range bound." So basically saying perhaps positive bull rally resumes for Bitcoin if above 19,400, but if we dip below 18,600, it might not be so fun in terms of price action here. And so Credible Crypto was saying on the lower end, watch for that 18,800 level, maybe on the lower end, not far from what Michael Vanderpop is talking about here. So we'll see, and I know people don't like, especially when you find it out, it's like, wait a minute, you're telling me that every crypto on the market, that's not Bitcoin, is just following Bitcoin? And the answer is yes, with rare exceptions, like, for instance, scams like BitConnect that ultimately go to zero, or there can be other weird things. But by and large, with very rare exception, like super rare exception, everything is just following Bitcoin, and the reason simply is it's very difficult to figure out, even at this point, with this nascent asset class being close to 12 years old at this point. It's very difficult for people to get a handle on where all of this is going and what cryptocurrencies are going to have a long-term viability. And I don't know how many winners there are going to be, but I don't imagine there are going to be that many, because you don't need a new form of money for every new idea that comes about. And a lot of these ideas that are cited as great candidates for a blockchain solution would be better off with simply utilizing a database. But with all these ICOs that launched, especially in 2017, it was just a money grab, and some of those things are actually still around. And so we'll see if they pump with the rest of the market. I don't know. Maybe when we get a true crazy alt season, maybe not all of them pump like 2017, but man, I'll tell you what, right now the market doesn't look that different than a few years ago in terms of consumer behavior. And so even if it were only the larger and some mid-cap coins that pump this time, okay, fine, we'll see if it looks different to any degree. But man, it sure doesn't seem to me that humans are acting any different. I'll just say that. So for me, the answer is, and you do you, this is not financial advice, I'm just sharing with you what I've been doing, just playing the long-term game and letting all the other humans drive the volatility, and then I refuse to participate, because either my bet is correct, in which case I suspect XRP will be worth substantially more, or it's wrong and it's going to zero, but I'm not going to emotionally buy and sell along the way and wreck myself just because that's what other lemmings are doing when they're all just chasing each other off a cliff. So I'm just not going to do it. But that's it for this one. I'm still, and look, to be clear, I still think that what the vast majority of analysts are saying is correct, in that the macro trend is still in place. That's what's most important to me. So in the short term, if it's less exciting because there's consolidation, or even if we go to the downside, I don't care. I'm still going to be here talking about it, hanging out with you, making YouTube videos, and I think everything's going to be fine. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!